Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aaron, and I am joined with my compatriot Stavros.
Hello.
It seems as though we have run into a bit of a conundrum. For you see, this pending episode we had recorded several weeks ago, and at the time it was very timely and interesting. But since then, time has marched on, and it seems as though these fine audio clips are no longer nearly as accurate as we once proclaimed. We hope that you can forgive us for this oversight, and I am hoping that you can suspend your disbelief long enough to enjoy these simple clips. The days grow longer and the months march by, yet still no Season 3. Well, we here at Lower Dorks, a Star Trek Lower Decks podcast, refuse to give up. I am Aaron, and with me as always is Stavros. And on our screens tonight is... nothing. There's nothing on our screens. There's no Season 3. So,
Nope.
What are we doing here, Stavros? What's the game?
I'm glad you asked. So yeah, like you said, there's just been a whole lot of nothing about Season 3. A couple very small teases here and there. But you know what? We're going to do an episode anyway. We're going to be doing a rewatch of Seasons 1 and 2 over the next couple episodes with a little bit of assistance. We have each procured a copy of the official Star Trek Cocktails book, I guess you could say. And we are going to do a fun little cocktail-fueled rewatch of Seasons 1 and 2. We're going to be going through each of the episodes, and for each one, we're going to select a cocktail. And after we watch it, we're going to tell you our knee-jerk reactions, not only to the cocktail, but to the episode. Because, you know, it's been a while. We haven't really rewatched these episodes in a while. I think it's going to be a fun time. Feel free to follow along with us through our questionably gold journey through Lower Decks that exists.
Indeed, and as always, if you are interested in any of the cocktails we're drinking tonight, you can pick up a copy of the book for yourself, or you can give Stavros a call at 555-679-3241, and he'll walk you right through the methods of operation in making yourself a fine cocktail.
I'll definitely try. But first up, we're going to Season 1, Episode 1, Second Contact. To do that, we are going to be drinking a drink called the Lime Directive. It is on page 94. Looking forward to talking about it in just a second.
Indeed. So, for those of you not yet in possession of a book, the Lime Directive is a mixed drink. It includes, obviously, lime juice and gin as its base, and includes a lime cordial. Lime cordial being a mixed syrup that's slightly sweeter and more bitter than lime juice itself. I believe that Stavros went the plebeian route and ordered some online, whereas I made my own. And we'll be seeing how this drink fares. So, yeah, that was a bit limey.
A little limey, you know, and I was telling you earlier,
the drink, not the episode. The drink, just so we're all on the same page. Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, the drink was definitely limey at first, but to be honest, as I kept going, it kind of softened, and I could just it tasted very sweet, which I'm not opposed to. So I'm kind of giving this drink the thumbs up.
It's definitely a sipping drink, but you know what? I think if I'm going to go with something that's very limey, I'm probably going to stick with my usual rum and lime.
Fair enough.
This is definitely not going to get the A+ certification from my palate.
Well, so what did you think of the episode?
So, obviously, the elephant in the room here, the fast talking.
Yes.
You're convinced that this is a solely first episode thing.
Yes. I think at the most that it comes back in episode 2 a little bit, but I think they definitely with Mariner, she talks very, very fast, especially in the opening scene, and it's, to be honest, very distracting. I hope it goes away quickly.
Yeah, I also noticed, too, that at the end, obviously they're playing up the whole Mariner's the experienced lower decker, but at the end, she's just gone this stream of consciousness talking about all these things, and Boimler's just clueless. But, like, that's a complete role reversal from what we see later, where Boimler's just way too informed on everything.
Yeah, maybe they hadn't quite locked that down for the Mariner-Boimler dynamic.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely
That could be it.
definitely hadn't finalized the character roles yet.
Definitely not. But, interesting thing about this episode, they work in the whole zombie plot. And I remember reading somewhere that they figured like the zombie plot is like more relatable, and that's why they went with it for the first episode. But, a shipwide crisis, and it's just like another day in the life, of people eating human flesh,
They did a fantastic job of like nailing down, because that's a theme throughout the series, is crazy shit goes down. And everyone in the lower decks is like, it's Tuesday. What do you expect?
That's right. Also, your favorite Cetacean Ops gets his first mention. I thought that was fun.
No, I guess that's just a running thing that they talk about. And of course, the fabulous Ops. There's a lot of Ops here. Scene.
There's a lot of Ops.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I do want to comment on something. This goes back to previously when we had talked about Star Trek. To Paul from Enterprise, the only character ever to have a problem and go see the doctor about it right away. As we see Ransom falls into the trope of Starfleet officers who refuse to see a doctor.
You figure there'd be a rule about that, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have the bug bite, go to the doctor right when you come back.
Yeah, you think there would be some sort of like medical scan that's like mandatory to get back. But you know what? If Ta'ana was my doctor, I would probably avoid going to see her as well.
Yeah. I feel like there's that episode later where people don't come in for their physicals. I kind of get it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
Hey, we also see the genesis of Tenderford in this episode.
I think it's a friendship and not a romance.
I think that's what they're kind of gunning for, but I could see it if they went with the romance angle. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I also noticed one other thing interesting watching this episode. And I don't know if I'm wrong. I suppose we'll find out as we continue to watch. But the animation, not like the art style or anything, but the actual animation style seems to be like slightly different in this one.
Yes. There's some action scenes especially where it feels a little bit different than later episodes.
Yeah, and like some of it is just it's less refined, but I also feel like the style of it is much more cartoony. Compared to like later episodes where it's more toned down. Like they do the facial expressions where the face contorts into very unnatural proportions. And then there's like a flow to the animation that just isn't there in later episodes where it's much more rubbery, I think. I could be wrong though.
Interesting. The same company, I think.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, and that's possible. Weird. It's possibly a design decision, and it's possible that they're just that style of the series evolved over time. Yep.
One other thing I do want to mention is I forced us to do a frame by frame on the Boimler getting suckled by the spider monster, and we saw additional Starfleet deltas on Boimler's underwear.
Deltas everywhere, man. Deltas everywhere. I blame Discovery.
I mean, do you kind of want underwear with the delta on it now after watching that?
I mean, I know you do, but me, not so much. I do want to comment, though.
Fair enough.
It's amazing that we have gone throughout the course of Star Trek's life from the delta being the insignia of the Enterprise to deltas being on people's underwear.
It has been quite a journey, hasn't it?
If that's what you call it.
Well, anything else you want to say about episode 1 before we move on?
No, I think it's time we moved on. And are we continuing with this drink, or are we trying something new?
For season 1, episode 2, Envoys, we are going to be drinking Klingon Bird of Prey on page 113. Okay, what did you think of Envoys? Well, what did you think of the drink first? We're supposed to talk about that first.
Oh, right, yes, we're drinking
the
things.
Bird of Prey.
The Bird of Prey.
Yes.
So, actually, it's pretty good. Like, the green chartreuse is very expensive. And I was very disappointed in the flavor by itself. I don't know how to describe the flavor, but if I had to describe a flavor, I think I would describe it as corduroy. It has a very, like, rough, uneven flavor. I'm not a big fan, but it works really well in this drink. Right. It's a bit sweet, a bit limey, but it's got a decent flavor to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a lot of the same ingredients as the last drink, except for the chartreuse, which, full disclosure, I did not actually pick up, so I did everything except the chartreuse. A little bit stronger, I thought it was, but overall decent. It's not. I felt like it was not as sweet, to be honest. But I mean, we're drinking cocktails here, so what do you really expect?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
But let's talk about this episode. Yeah. Let's chat about this. First of all, I mean, we talked about this. The Mariner dialogue is slowed down, thank God, from the first episode. Do you agree that it was a function of the first episode that Mariner was just kind of
I'm not
speed
sure,
talking her way through all her dialogue?
because she definitely has snappy dialogue still, but it's a lot less rushed, right? So I'm thinking it's definitely a product of like the characters being feeled out more by their voice actors, because like everybody has like transitioned a little bit. And the other thing I noticed is the animation I had talked about in last episode. It's definitely much more toned down, and I hate to say it, but it's like the best way I could describe it is the animation is a little bit stiffer, right? But that's not a bad thing, because the last episode, it was a little too rubbery, and I think the stiffness, it's still very animated, still very cartoony, but it's way less, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. It definitely, the quality feels better. I'm not sure what exactly it is. It could be what you're describing, but it definitely feels a lot more solid to me.
Yeah, sure. Overall great. And I gotta mention, the line returns, "Ow, my bones!"
My bones!
My bones! Is that in like every episode and we just never noticed?
I don't know. I think we're going to find out here. We're going to be on the lookout for my bones.
Yeah, my bones!
Speaking of jokes, though, I seriously think the Rutherford switching between jobs is like one of the best jokes of the entire show.
It's done so well. Yeah.
The pre-K is being vented into space.
Let's try it in a larger ship with more children. She's like, oh.
Why is Ransom so
why are you doing this, Ransom?
So good. Although we also see the beginning of the Warp Me.
Yeah, where she's saying she needs a good line and trying some of
everyone captain needs a good line. Yeah, that's true.
Oh man, so definitely like you told me not to say anything, but I didn't really like watching the first episode. I'm all like, man, how did this ever make it to series? But this one definitely much more solid.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, really, really great episode. Really looking forward to seeing what trends continue into the next one. And they are definitely leaning more into the whole Boimler knows things, but Mariner has experienced things.
Yeah.
This episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is like the quintessential, like, insufferable, whiny Boimler before he's a badass.
And the insufferable, I've done it all, Mariner.
Yeah.
I've said this before. They're two insufferable people who are somehow making themselves better.
That's true, and that's the kind of journey we want to see in this show anyway, right?
Well, I mean, maybe that's the journey you want to see. I just don't want to see insufferable people at all. I get enough of those in the real world.
Yeah.
So yeah, fantastic episode.
I love it. Well, next episode we're going to move on to Temporal Edict, and the drink we're going to use with this one is called Ice Planet, and it's on page 43 of the Star Trek Cocktails book. So
sticking with the lime juice, but now we're breaking out a little white rum and blue Sirocco.
Exciting.
Sirocco? I think it's Sirocco. I don't know.
One of those.
Something like that. We'll figure it out. All right. Well, let's roll this thing.
Well, let's talk about Temporal Edict.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? We have to talk about Ice Planet first. What do you think of the new beverage?
It has a much softer flavor. It doesn't really have any bite. But overall, it was pretty good. I wound up watering mine down a little more because it was a little too sweet for me.
Okay. Yeah, I can't get over the color. I don't know if it's just because we've had so many drinks so far, but the blue Caracal really gave it the Ice Planet feel, and it wasn't hitting me over the head with flavor either. So
yes,
I don't really mind sweetness in general, but it was nice that it was kind of soft and blue. I can't get over the blue.
Yeah, I've heard you're a fan of the blues.
Who isn't really?
It was written on the bathroom wall. Anyways.
Makes sense. So, let's talk about this episode. First off, why is Ransom such a goddamn maniac? That man cannot be trusted with anything.
I love Ransom, man. This is the first real Ransom episode. You know what, though? What I noticed more now than ever is Ransom is really inconsistent in this episode. In the beginning, he's like a domineering douche, but midway through, he's like true blue Starfleet, and then in the end, he's just a wisecracking first officer. Cracking, wisecracking.
Cracking.
Jesus.
Wise.
Cracking.
He cracks wise. Yeah.
Yes, he cracks wise.
I don't know, man. At least he doesn't use the sword when he can just use his fist. That's the only redeeming factor for Ransom in this episode.
I've said this a million times. This is why I love Ransom in this episode. Is Mariner wanted to go fight, and she was going to use the sword and just kill Big Dum Dum. And Mariner and Ransom is all like, nah, man, I'm going to go out there and make peace with these guys. And he does it.
That's true. That's true. You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Although looking at things on paper, like Mariner obviously has more experience in doing things like this. But that doesn't matter for some reason.
Well, it doesn't matter because she has more experience, but that doesn't mean she has good solutions. Like, her whole solution was just to, fight her way out. Whereas, Ransom walked in and managed to tame the beast, as it were.
That's a good point. I guess I can't defend against that one. Maybe Ransom isn't a maniac.
And then, of course, he has her arrested for not rolling down her sleeves.
Yeah, what is going on with that? Is that the real solution to uniform protocol breaking?
Yes, it is. You know what? You joke, but I have worked for places where we have said to send people home because of the ridiculous things they wore to work. Sometimes professionalism is important.
Yeah, that's true.
Although,
but seriously, like sending her to the brig for that?
To the brig. Although, I think the brig was more for insubordination than the sleeves code, despite what he said.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
something else I wanted to bring up, though, is this episode is the start of the phasers act as mops like trope that Lower Decks has going on. Because they start clearing the graffiti with the phasers. Which happens later, too, I think.
I feel like we see this again. The other thing I noticed, though, too, like, have we seen this in other series, though? I feel like we have, where they've used, like, a wide beam phaser to clean something up.
Have they? I can't recall.
I don't know. I feel like if I wasn't this drunk and we had done a little bit of research in advance, I might be able to speak to it.
You know what? That's not what this episode is about. This episode is about our knee-jerk reactions. So, you know what?
Yes.
It's going to be fine.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, man, what else did we want to talk about? Oh, you had mentioned a cameo. Is this the first appearance of Jet?
Yes, I think so. So when we were watching this, we did some freeze frame on when the Cerritos crew starts pushing the crystal worshippers off the ship. And there's a shot in engineering where you can see Jet punching some people out. So
indeed.
I think it really is the introduction of Jet.
We should have checked his rank pips.
I'll have to go back and do some freeze frames.
See if he's
been
eating some street corn. But yeah, and I think I also saw Ensign Flesher, who shows up again in Terminal Provocations.
Yes, I saw him in I think the last episode as well. So he's been in the background for a while too. I love how we've mentioned it before. I love how they use these guys that start out as background characters as speaking roles later.
It's interesting that Voyager did a similar thing where they would introduce characters as like bit characters who you think are just they're just fillers, right? They're what do you call them? Extras. You think
background
they're just extras, right?
Extras, yeah.
And it turns out they're not. They actually build up to a character arc before they get killed off.
That's right.
So now the question becomes,
that's obvious.
When is Jet going to get killed off?
Only a matter of time, I assume.
Only a matter of time. But yeah, continuing on, though, with the trends, I definitely noticed they have slowed down their speech patterns a lot. It's very noticeable.
It has really helped.
Yeah.
It helps the show a lot, to be honest. Yep. I think from here on out, it's pretty consistent, too. So,
although I will say, Captain Freeman, terrible. Captain Freeman, god-awful.
Yeah, Boimler says she's a good captain, but, I'm
questioning Boimler's judgment. First, that whole,
a little bit
Boimler effect thing, and now praising terrible captains.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do to get ahead and get that promotion, right?
Whoever's boots you want to lick, you do it. I'll be over here doing my thing. Okay, what are we doing next here?
Let's do, we're moving on to Season 1, Episode 4, Moist Vessel, and the drink we are drinking is called Mind Meld. It is on page 53 of Star Trek Cocktails.
Your
very exciting
cherry fun time drink.
I know, I can't wait to try a drink with cherry liqueur.
Yeah, let's give this thing a go, and let's roll that beautiful... Wait, no, bean footage is something else. We're watching Lower Decks. Next episode, Moist Vessel.
All right, what'd you think of the drink, the Vulcan Mind Meld?
It is definitely the smoothest of what we have drinking so far. Drinking? It is definitely the
drink.
smoothest
I'm pretty sure
drink.
It's drink.
Yeah, it is the smoothest drink we've had so far. Quality ingredients. Definitely everything works really well together. The champagne brings a little bit of fizz. The cherry is a little sweet. We've been doing a lot of sweet today, though. But the flavor is fantastic. And I went with hibiscus syrup, and oh man, it adds something magical to the drink. What did you mix in?
I got the elderflower syrup on mine. But seriously, the mix of the cherry sweetness with the little hint of flour and the champagne fizziness gives it something a little extra. I was kind of surprised. This is easily the top drink we've had tonight so far.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I probably won't remember this come tomorrow, but yeah.
What will you remember tomorrow? We'll remember Lower Decks this episode so far.
Oh my god, yes.
But Moist Vessel, let's talk about that. I'm getting hung up on this, but why are phasers being used to clean everything? There's this segment where Mariner has to use the phaser to clean carbon off the slightly harder carbon.
Yeah.
And that's just a thing that Lower Decks does, is the phaser is just used to clean. Like, do they not have vacuum cleaners or mops or what?
Well, they've got leaf blowers, so I mean, I would assume they have mops.
What the hell?
I feel like this is
they show leaf blowers in this episode.
Yeah, this has got to be a reference to something. This has to have come up in Trek previously.
The leaf blowers or the phasers to clean?
The phasers to clean. Of course, that's what we're talking about. Jesus. Pay attention, man.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. But it's got to shown up before.
I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be like, this is a reference to Series Y, Episode 29, Season 3, where Steve Buscemi used a phaser to wipe away graffiti, or some bullshit like that.
Yes. It's possible.
Could be.
It's definitely showing up more here than any other series, though. So I can't get over it at this point. I'm going to call it out every single time it happens from now on.
Oh my god, speaking of calling things out every time we see it, I don't recall us hearing, ow, my bones.
Yeah, there's no bones this episode.
Well, that makes me sad.
There was opportunity, too. I feel like there was.
Plenty of opportunity. You kidding me?
Yeah. Only 2 episodes in a row we got, oh, my bones.
Oh, my bones.
Although we did see the start of in this episode is the sarcastic Vulcan salute.
Yeah, the thing you love, but I'm not so enamored with.
I'm not as into it when Mariner does it, but when Boimler does it when he's going to the turbolift is fucking awesome. There's just no getting around that.
I will admit, Mariner's response is pretty good.
It's like, yeah, that is.
It's not cool when you do it.
I guess it is.
But yeah, another A+ episode. But yeah, this continues the trend with the captain being a terrible captain.
Yeah,
at least Ransom is still bringing his A game.
That's true. And the danger doesn't happen until the other captain of the Merced F's things up too. So maybe it's a common thing of these subpar Starfleet ships where just the captains are terrible and make terrible decisions.
They're victims of the Peter principle, promotion to incompetence. They're probably great first officers, but
they just let the Captain Merced let the pride get the best of him.
Indeed, he was trying to make himself seem better than he was.
That's right. And you got to think, we were talking about this while the episode was playing. People died because of this, right? There's no way that
he is definitely getting courts-martialed. I mean, it's happening. I mean, There's no way he doesn't walk away from this episode without a prison sentence.
Completely.
Wait.
This episode contains my favorite joke, which is continues to be my favorite joke of the whole show, which is the censors.
Censors. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Now, every time we rewatch a different show, or Strange New World, which is airing right now, is on, I have to pay attention. Is he saying censors or censors?
You can't unhear it.
Seriously, it's completely impacted my enjoyment of all sci-fi at this point.
I will say this: it is way less egregious in the series as a whole than the way the Admiral says it in this episode.
Yeah, he's obviously playing it up for a laugh, right?
Yeah,
for the joke.
Yes.
Everyone knows that I mispronounce things. That's so funny.
Are you making fun of me? Oh, man.
I love it. It's so good.
Such a great gag.
Oh, we need to talk about Ascension, though.
Why is he
I don't know,
smiling?
man. The koala. What does he know?
Can I just say, though, Ascension in this episode makes no sense.
Why is that? Why do you think it makes no sense?
Well, I mean, so he spends all this time faking Ascension, right? He's not even really trying. He's just doing bullshit things.
Right.
And in the end, he finally ascends for shit that people do all the time in Star Trek. If being selfless is all it takes,
then everyone would have ascended. It's like a common Starfleet trait.
Jesus.
Yeah. You got a point.
I think it takes a certain level of assholishness and redemption.
Yeah, you got to make the turn, right? You got to get turned back to the light side.
You got to do the heel turn for the koala to notice you.
That's exactly right. Why is it taking so long?
Why is it taking so long? It hurts. Oh man,
I love it.
A million different directions that could have gone, but definitely the horrificness of it all was just fantastic.
Yeah, why does it hurt when he ascends? I guess we'll never know.
Well, they can always revisit it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Well, next up, we've got episode 5 of season 1. It's called Cupid's Errant Arrow, and we're going to be drinking a drink called Q-Pid. So stand by for that. Coming up next.
Coming up next, a little bit of Q-Pid. Rhymes with stupid. It's got vodka and bringing back your cherry liqueur. And egg whites. Hopefully we don't all get salmonella.
All right, here we're back. Let's talk about the Q-Pid drink. What'd you think?
Well, it's not as slimy as I expected.
With all the egg white in there?
Yeah, didn't really get the fizziness that they were saying you should get.
No.
It was really kind of just like a very consistent grossness.
All the egg whites was making it gross. I didn't really like it. I don't know if I just am not doing the shake right, maybe in the shaker that's supposed to get the froth.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Didn't really get the frothiness.
Yeah,
the flavor though was okay. I mean, it's really the only thing carrying the flavor is the cherry liqueur. Yeah. You couldn't really taste the egg whites.
Yeah, I put some raspberry powder in there as suggested, and without the foam, it just sinks to the bottom and stuck to the bottom of my glass, and it was not that good. It was not a good experience. Yeah, so I don't know if I can recommend this one, but I mean, it uses the cherry liqueur, so I can't hate it too hard. I guess.
I heard you're a big fan of the cherry liqueur. It was written on the bathroom wall.
Oh, good. That's a good thing to be on the bathroom wall. Let's talk about episode 5, Cupid's Errant Arrow. The funniest thing, we were just watching this, and when the little parasite goes, lover, 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 I had not realized he said that before, and it was amazing.
That's the highlight of the episode. I don't know how you didn't get that.
I don't know. I did not realize it before, but it's amazing. It was pretty great.
We did confirm there's no way that is street corn on Jet's lapel.
On Jet.
Filthy liar. We all know he got demoted sometime.
He got demoted.
Between this episode.
And hilariously, when they drop the Bradward's first name, and then Mariner, all she does is call Boimler Bradward the entire rest of the episode. That was pretty great, too. I didn't realize that, but we're watching with the subtitles on. That helps a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, man. This whole episode is mildly hilarious. I love how, in the initial tour of the Vancouver, the captain's going on and on about how much better it is than the Cerritos. And it's like,
the same shit.
It's all the same sets on the interior.
I know. One day you'll get to be on an awesome ship like the Vancouver. It's the same
Take it all in. It's the same set.
I love it. Oh, also the debut of the T-88s, which are like tricorders except better and can do everything for some reason.
Yeah, like what is the T-88 supposed to be?
It seems like a one device does all tricorder replacement. That's the only thing I can think of. And I also want one, so there's that.
Well, you know what? I think it goes back to the like old Star Trek, you know, in the 80s and 90s, where like they always have some random device and they're just like shining a
Does
light
everything
on various internal components, and it's like, what are you even doing there? Like, I mean, dude, what does that device even do? Are you just Are they all solar powered, but you didn't realize that they're all inside boxes? So you know you routinely have to go in and spray them with sunlight, or what's the deal here, people?
Unclear. And and that just leads to my next comment, which is that why is Tendi doing like engineering jobs in this episode? She's like in Jeffrey's tubes with Rutherford, like and putting out fires and under control panels and stuff.
Yeah,
what's happening?
Like the entire episode, and it's one thing. Like after she's all like kicked to general science. That would, maybe there's a wider variety of stuff she would be involved with engineering-wise. But, like, right now, she's like a medical person. She's like a nurse or a doctor basically. Or something.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be me running into a hospital and saying, "You there! My car needs an oil change." And a nurse being, "Right away, sir!" Like, what is that about? Come on.
Here's a device that will help you. It's that good. All around good. I'm glad we're picking up new stuff. Lover.
I don't know how you missed that. That was just such a hilarious moment.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Poor Bradward. He needs a girlfriend that loves him for him. And as we've talked about before, Mariner is not that person. So let's not even chase that. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, no. I definitely love the protectionism shown here, and like the fact that they both bond over how weird Boimler is.
And then she's never heard from again.
Well, there's always another season.
Yeah, Vancouver probably ran into some kind of dangerous shit, and she's dead.
Wow, that's a little dark there, buddy. You doing okay?
That's how we roll.
Do you need to
on the show? Apparently,
do you need to talk? You need going through some dark
maybe
times.
I do. Yeah, maybe I do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, find somebody else because
Fine. Oh man! All right. Man. Well, our next episode is episode 6, Terminal Provocations. And we are going to be drinking a Guinan Fizz. That's on page 36.
I don't have any cucumber slices because cucumbers are terrible. So
they are terrible. I think we'll have to go without cucumber slices.
Yeah, I think I'm going to skip that one.
Yeah,
but we'll figure something out. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it does. I don't know.
We'll find out.
Indeed. All right, next episode, or whatever, something.
Whatever.
Yes.
All right, that was Terminal Provocations, but let's talk about the Guinan Fizz first. By the way, we totally forgot to mention what page that's on. That's on page 36. If you're wondering.
You friggin' knob. Get your shit
what'd you think
together.
Of the drink?
Jesus.
You didn't do the cucumber.
I did not. I mean, what
I know, I have one job.
Freaking filthy hobo would eat cucumber. That's the only explanation I could make, is you're starving and the only thing you have to eat is cucumber. Cucumber is terrible.
Yeah. Cucumber is terrible, but the funny thing is when I went to mix this drink, I realized my wife did buy some cucumber, so I totally added some cucumber to this one. So, you know what? I had a little cucumber just to make the book-accurate Guinan Fizz. But what'd you think of the drink?
I went a little overboard on the fizziness, added a little bit of extra sparkling water, and you know what? I liked it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was tasty.
But
it was surprising.
The reality is it's just gin and lemon juice.
Yeah.
Like, I like the syrup, but mostly the syrup is just consistency rather than
consistency,
flavor. So, I enjoyed it.
I mean, if you don't like lemon juice and gin, then what are you doing drinking cocktails, man?
Some people have problems.
Well, let's move on to the episode then. So, the debut of Badgie, I think, is the highlight of this episode.
Okay, dude. Whatever floats your boat, man. I guess if you're a Badgie fan, weirdo.
Some people are really into Badgie, and there's a lot of blood. Like, he like tears people's heads off and like
Badgie is
breaks
super
arms.
dark. I do not remember him being that bad.
Yeah, it's and like there's like the neck breaking at the end. I mean,
my god, yeah.
There's lots of violence.
Badgie is, oh Jesus.
Yeah. It is I mean, he does come back later, so there is a lot of Badgie to be had still, but he is a little dark. Definitely a little dark.
Definitely. But you know what? Moving on to the elephant in the room.
Okay.
What is Starbase 80?
It's a place where you don't want to be assigned, I guess.
Apparently, like, has this shown up anywhere else in Trek, or is this like the only reference?
I think this has got to be the only time. I like it in that scene, the mess hall scene, where the Dr. Tana is like, you don't want to work on Starbase 80. They're just some guys like, ooh, Starbase 80.
Like, yeah, and like everybody has the same like gasp, right? They're like,
yeah.
No! And it's all like,
yeah, it's so good.
Oh man, like if we do not get to see Starbase 80 at some point, I'm going to be super disappointed.
Yeah, what's so disappointing?
This isn't going to be like Station Ops, where we eventually see it and I'm disappointed. This is the reverse. Where not seeing it will disappoint me.
Maybe they'll drop by in the next season or something like that.
Could be.
But you know, speaking of Badgie in the holodeck simulation, I think this is the genesis of Tenderford. This is they got the little cute little romantic moment when they get the
where he, is all like, oh, Tendy is so cute, and it's like, come on, man,
she's so cute.
So you know what, I am going to let this relationship slide in my no relationships policy.
Yeah.
But at least this one has build up and makes a little bit more sense. They're both two halves of the same coin, unlike Mariner and Boimler.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Mariner and Boimler, I think, do not need to be a thing, but I think Tendi and Rutherford do need to be a thing. And you can see it start. It kind of hits you over the head with it now that I think about it.
Yeah, like, I don't know how I never noticed this. I guess, I was just really caught up in my Rutherford design. At least
Billups gets some lines in this episode. Like, he's on the bridge for some reason during one of the scenes.
Is he on the bridge? I think he's actually in engineering, but it's just like a cutaway.
Oh, he's in engineering too, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's the last episode he's also on the bridge where he's like, they have to destroy the moon.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should watch
this a couple voice
sober
lines.
So, we actually notice what's going on.
No, that sounds like chops. But the other relationship genesis we see is Shax and Dr. Ta'ana on the bridge.
Yeah,
they have
the
a
first
celebratory kiss.
Was this intentional, or was this just like a throwaway gag, right?
It's gotta be intentional, man.
I don't know.
Like, they come back to it later, and I think it might have been throwaway at the time, and then they just come back to it later.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. This show has a history of, like, having throwaway characters and gags, and then they just come back to it later for some reason.
But, I mean, like, that's just it. You don't know. Are they throwaway, or was this always intentional that they would do more with these things?
Yeah.
But
unclear.
Speaking of throwaway gags, what is the deal of lower deckers with curly hair turning out to be jackasses?
It's just what's his face, Fletcher, in this episode. Well, does Mariner has curly hair too, though?
No, I mean, she does, but like, I don't know. It's a different kind of curly.
Yeah,
but like, it's that haircut, that short, like, I don't even know what to call it, like the pseudo white afro. But like, so it happens with Fletcher in this episode, and then it happens again later with Ensign Casey, who also shows up in this episode on the bridge.
You're totally right. That's right.
So now the question becomes, is there anyone else that I'm forgetting? Is this going to be a trend? But he's
also a jerk. I don't know. I'll have to pay attention for that.
Yeah, you better watch for that. Because I'm not.
2 for 2. White guys with curly hair.
Yeah, white guys with curly hair. You got to watch out for them. I think that the showrunners are trying to send us a message.
I think so. I think you're right. One other thing I wanted to point out, the callback to the sarcastic Vulcan salute, we both noticed it this time, where Mariner and Boimler are having a moment towards the end of the episode, and they both do like a little like chest bump with the sarcastic Vulcan
it's not even
salute.
like the full sarcastic salute, right? Where you do the two hands.
Yeah, no, it's not
and
the
the
full
whole
thing.
body gesture, but it's like the peace out gesture. Only
Yeah,
in this case,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
the Vulcan salute. Like, what is going on there?
I don't know, but I'm here for it. I didn't realize it was such like it comes back like that. So.
Yeah, so the question is, I mean, obviously we're still only on season 1. Does this keep happening throughout the rest of the series?
Yeah,
I
don't
hope
know.
so.
If we need to, I hope so too. We need to continue to drink booze and watch this show and see if it pops back in.
I will say, though, moving on from the sarcastic Vulcan salute, which we all love,
Right.
I do have a kind of ick hot take.
Uh-oh.
Rutherford abusing his children.
Yes.
Jesus, that was a little
That
dark.
was bad.
You know what?
Yeah, I can kind of see why Badgie flies
Yeah.
off the handle there.
Kinda,
He like kicks
kinda
Badgie in
siding
the
with
nuts.
Badgie now.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
I gotta agree. He gets a little frustrated and like kicks him right in the junk.
But
and,
you know, maybe there should be some sort of blocks on holodecks that prevent holodeck characters from becoming sentient.
being abused.
I feel like
Yeah,
by
that too,
this
yeah.
point in the timeline, it's happened enough to where like some programmer would be like, "Okay, we're going to install
Don't do
a
it.
basic subroutine. If sentient, then erase program or something."
Yeah. I mean, even more so, like, we need to have, like, this has got to be reported to the avian counselor guy. Like, if you got, like, Starfleet officers coming to the holodeck and just, like, abusing holodeck characters because they can, they've got some deep-seated issues here, man.
Well, I don't think he abused him just because he can. When your computer is behaving weirdly, so you give it a quick kick to, rejigger the connections. But in this case, it's like a sentient being, so it gets a little darker.
Right. Either way, I mean, that was uncalled for. And he even says that, he regrets it, but, I mean, it's definitely some abuse going on there. Come on, Rutherford, get it together.
And my final thing here is the 0G spacesuit training and how to use suits, whatever, systems for a spacewalk. And Rutherford's all like, it's easy. You just, float and magnet. Right. And I'm like, I think Amos would disagree with you. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I feel like there's more to it.
Mixing genres
Across the
here.
universes.
Yeah, wrong series. My bad.
Yeah, there's more to it than that, for sure. All right, well, let's get ready for our next episode, Much Ado About Boimler. That's Season 1, Episode 7. And we are going to be drinking a Samarian Sunset. That's on page 125 of Star Trek Cocktails, so
indeed,
get ready for that.
Bringing back the orange juice and lime juice. Oh, we're going to do the blue Caraco, which
I'm excited.
Turns your insides blue.
Yeah.
What page is that on?
I'm excited. That's on 125.
125. All right, let's do this thing. Let's go mix some
it.
drinks and watch an episode. Or not, whatever floats your boat. I mean, I hope if you're watching, you like watching the show and drinking, because that's kind of all we do.
Okay, let's talk about Much Ado About Boimler, but first, we have our drink, our Samarian Sunset. What did you think about this beverage?
I'm going to give it an A++. I really like the blue Caraco. Caraco? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Hard to argue with the blue Krakow.
You know what? Yeah, you
Caraco.
were a big fan, but I don't think it's the blue that draws it. It is definitely the flavor. And of course, it brings back lime juice. I enjoy lime in anything, and everything else is just a mix of juices and tequila. So,
yeah, I think this beverage is a lot about presentation. I mean, there's a lot of focus on like when you're making it, like when to mix and when to add the various ingredients.
It is a
and stuff.
high process.
So there is a lot
drink.
of focus on that.
Yeah, high process drink.
Yeah,
definitely.
totally. But I mean, it does have the fruit juice in there, so it gives it the little tart flavor to it. Yeah. So I cannot argue with it. It's tasty.
Not as sweet as a lot of the things we've been mixing. So
yeah,
I'm on board for that.
It's got more of the tartness to it, instead of like the sweetness overload.
Yep.
So that's nice. Let's talk about the star of the show, which is obviously the dog, which is sentient, obviously, from the last scene that the dog is present in. It's not just a dog; it's what Tendi thinks a dog is, which is a sentient person which can speak and all that.
I feel like genetically creating from the ground up a sentient being would be a crime in the Federation.
Yeah, like why is this
like this?
Why is
does
this
not
allowed?
fit with anything we've seen before. Like WTF, right?
Yeah, totally. And also, so the dog like kind of departs into the atmosphere. So did the dog escape the farm at the end, or is the dog still in the farm?
Well, I mean, he said he liked it on the farm, so I'm assuming he's still there.
Yeah, that's crazy. The dog is just a crazy, wacky character in general. So, which can also turn into a cube.
That's your focus of the episode, though. The genetically engineered dog.
What, the A plot about Mariner being a screw up because she wants to be? Nah, that's garbage.
The
it's all
whole
about the dog.
episode is just a callback to Chain of Command. Or it's just
Yeah,
pure ridiculousness. Though I gotta say, Ramsey is no Jellicoe.
No.
Jellicoe, man. He can captain my ship anytime.
Jellicoe is one of those weird captains, and we're going to get off track here talking about Jellicoe, but you're totally right. Like, Jellicoe, all he wanted to do was get the Enterprise in fighting shape and stop Picard's random lax attitudes about random things.
Jellicoe is always the right track. Like, if he doesn't show up on Lower Decks, I'm going to be disappointed. One of my favorite
He's got to be on
captains.
Admiral track by this time.
Oh, yeah, you kidding me? I mean, like, he's probably running the 7th Fleet or some bullshit like that.
Completely.
I mean, even at the end, he won over Riker, where Riker realized that he was wrong.
That's right.
And I think that says a lot, because if you manage to sway somebody's opinion after they've grown the beard, you're clearly a person of character and intent.
I think you're right. But that segues into Mariner's character development in this episode. I mean, as we've known by this point, Mariner is, obviously just like faking being incompetent just so she can stay her own rank on the Cerritos. So we do get that here, but...
Yeah, because she seems super incompetent throughout the first half of the episode.
Yeah.
It's only when it's revealed that
it's only until...
Yeah, doing it intentionally.
Right, yeah. Only until shit gets real does she really, bring her A game. So, I mean, we've known this for a while, obviously, as we've been doing the show for a while. There, she's obviously trying to stay where she's at for some reason, some plot reason, but it definitely comes out in this episode. But you know what? I want to talk more about "Boy Me Up," which is a key Boimler phrase that is coined in this episode.
Does that keep coming back later, or is this the only episode where we get the "Boy Me Up"?
I think this is the only one, but I think it needs to come back.
Super sad. Yeah. I want more Boy Me Up.
It needs to be a thing, for sure.
Even Mariner uses it.
Yeah, it needs to be a thing, for sure. Poor Boimler.
The episode, obviously, full of callbacks, which is not uncommon for this series. But I do really have an interesting question. So the Edosian captain, obviously Edosian? Edosian? I don't know.
Yes. Something alien.
Yes, call back to the animated series where James Doohan voiced the 3-armed alien.
Yeah, totally.
Why does he inconsistently have a Scottish accent in this episode? Like, in some scenes he does, and in other scenes he doesn't. What is going on here?
I don't know. Why does an evil character... Is that like an evil thing? Is it like the Star Wars thing where, British people are evil, but in Star Trek, the Scottish people are evil?
I think you mean real world thing where British people are evil. It's in their nature.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just very weird and inconsistent, and I don't know what they're going for there.
It's weird. It's also weird. I love the interesting... they just flash up these things with the ship. I think it's called the Ostler, where it's just going through, weird lightning storms, and that's just how it navigates, through random lightning storms.
You're assuming that that's the case, and it's not just a matter of, hey, we're going to meet you on the edge of this nebula, because that's how nebulas work in Star Trek.
Yeah,
that's
true.
I don't think that's a default of the Ostler. I think that's just where they were meeting it.
Right. Okay. It could be. I want to know more about the Ostler. It's definitely a non-standard design.
I definitely don't care, but
fair enough. Speaking of callbacks, let's talk about the definitely not encounter at Farpoint jellyfish that the other ship, the Rubidol, turns into at the end of the episodes.
Too many tentacles.
It's got to be inspired by that.
Yeah. Too many tentacles.
It's got energy tentacles.
Yeah, but it's too many.
Yeah.
But you know what? This episode, like we said, is full of callbacks. I don't know if they were going for that with the space pseudo jellyfish. But you've also got the callback to Threshold in the weird salamander.
He's got the lizard people there. Yeah, the salamander people.
Yeah. I feel like if I dug into it more, more of the medical oddities would turn out to be references.
Yeah, there's got to be more in there. There's a lot in the background. Like we pause, we were looking at the when they're on the farm planet. There's like a random guy with a duckbill for some reason, which is completely nonsensical.
Duckbill, and then you've got the pike chair people for some reason.
Right, there's more than one for some reason. Yeah.
I do want to say though, I do love the fact that like Boimler, like all the rest of the freaks are like, we're being taken to, some horrible place to be, hidden from sight from the rest of the Federation. And then it turns out that Boimler was right all along. Like, oh no, the Federation's going to take care of you. What would normally be naivete turns out to be, no, this is just how the Federation is.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love it. It's great. Yeah. I mean, you got to think, though, those guys have been stuck on the ship for, like, months, so...
Yeah.
Maybe they're justified in thinking they're not actually going anywhere, but they're proven wrong at the end, so
Indeed.
There's that.
Yeah, no, I liked it. Definitely great episode. Definitely great drink.
Yes, win and win, I think.
Yeah.
But the next episode is one of my personal favorites for this show, is Season 1, Episode 8, Veritas.
How can you not love Veritas?
It's really good.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm fighting the urge to talk about it right now.
We'll get there. And we're drinking a drink called Buck's Fizzbin, which is on page 78 of Star Trek Cocktails. So let's mix that up and talk about that episode.
All right, let's do this thing.
All right, that was episode 8, Veritas. But let's talk about the drink first. That was Buck's Fizzbin. What'd you think of it?
I mean, it's basically a mimosa. Like, I don't know why it's Buck's Fizzbin. Who the F is Buck? Like, did I miss an episode?
I don't know. Was it in the episode where they introduced Fizzbin? Is that Buck in there somewhere?
I'm not sure. No idea.
We're too drunk to really understand.
Yeah, the drink, though, I mean, it's an old
It was solid.
So can't really complain.
Yeah. We were doing a lot of drinks tonight that have a lot of, like, fruit drink, like, base.
Well, yeah,
so there's a lot of orange
that's
juice
for you. I know you like to keep it fruity.
I do like to keep it fruity. That is true. You're not wrong about that. But it's hard to go wrong with this kind of drink, so I'm not gonna argue about that. So it was good.
Yeah. So let's talk about the episode.
Totally. This is one of my favorite episodes of the entire show because it's basically a quintessential Lower Decks episode. I mean, they've got all of the Lower Deckers testifying in the not trial. It's fucking great. There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you agree? Is this like the quintessential Lower Decks episode?
I don't know if I agree with that, but it's definitely one of my favorites. I really love the storytelling, the storytelling style of overlapping independent stories. And that is what this is.
Yeah, totally.
Really loved it. And one of my favorites.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts is the Rutherford implant restarts with the basically it seems like a lot like any Windows update that I've ever everyone has the relatable Windows update that forces you to restart at an inconvenient time. Fucking great, dude.
Definitely a good reason not to become a cyborg. Although I do want to say that this episode definitely leans into my whole Rutherford's implant is Romulan, not Vulcan conspiracy theory.
Totally. I mean, we're going to get more to that with season 3 once that whole thing starts happening. But, I mean, there's some question marks about Rutherford's implants, man. Like, it can't be purely Vulcan. Right?
Well, I mean, it can. I mean, it's just, if you want to ignore all of the buildup, you can just make it Vulcan and never address the issue.
That's true. One of the things I love about this watch through is we're getting like the random lines from random characters. So I think there's one line at one point where Billups is like, "Oh, Tasha, the garbage bag's behind you."
Yeah.
It's a Skin of Evil reference where Armis totally looks like a garbage bag on.
Why is that Billups' memory? Like, why is he saying that when he's delirious?
I don't know, but it's a great reference. He does. Armis definitely looks like a garbage bag, and we even get more Armage episodes later. Or Armis.
Say it right. I don't care how drunk you are.
Armis, yes, he totally does look like a garbage bag. So there is that.
Yeah. But you know, there's tons of like really just stand out like bits, like the whole like fantastic racism. Tell that to Spock and Spock. Fantastic.
Why is Shaq so racist?
Well, you know what? I suppose growing up in a war-torn land will kind of skew your view of aliens.
That's true. I can understand that.
But yeah, you got that. You got the whole they're scanning a bit. They're scanning again bit. It's fantastic.
They're scanning. Yeah, that joke is still like one of the greats of the show.
Solid joke.
Yeah. Today didn't have to end with eels, even though it's a party. It's completely nonsensical, but also amazing.
I love how nonsensical that is. Like, why were there eels?
I don't know. Today did not have to end with eels, and there they are.
I do want to comment on something, though. Like, a lot of stuff gets beeped out throughout the episode.
Yes.
Like, you know...
Raw beepulence.
Like, the beeping makes no sense. Like, from an audio standpoint. It's just like... the beep is, like, way too long. There's nothing they were beeping out there.
No. That's the joke, good. I think.
And I do raise one question, though, for the beeping.
Okay.
What was Dr. T'Ana shaving that got beeped out?
Oh, that's a great question. She has to shave it in preparation for a
She's a cat person. She's a cat person. What is she saving? Her whole body is covered in fur.
Yeah, great question. And she shows up in the beam of celebration. So what is it that she shaved that is not visible?
Indeed.
Quite a question for the ages.
That's kind of creepy. But let's move on. Let's move on to something else.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I want to talk about something that really bugged me in this episode.
Okay.
In the beginning, Mariner, when she's being questioned, is like, "What map? I don't know what map you're talking about." Right. But when they showed her memory, she clearly remembers the map. What are you doing, Mariner?
Yeah, it's right there being held by...
You just told them about the map.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know, it's not a focus of the episode. But, I mean, it does come up... It is a significant part of the episode later on, so there is that.
Still bothers me.
Yeah,
never going to stop bothering me. It's just, it's a story flaw, and I'm very disappointed.
Yeah, I understand.
Don't patronize me!
Well, do you have anything else about this episode, or should we move on?
You know what? I do want to do one little reference here. Boimler was apparently taking a pottery class.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a very TNG-like reference.
Well, yeah, but then it comes up later when he tries to take a pottery class with Rutherford and Shax.
Yeah, he straight up does.
Yeah, and it seems very unprepared for it.
That's true.
So, yeah.
It seems like like maybe the pottery class got delayed and then...
plot hole. I think it's a plot hole, and I demand that the producers address this issue.
Address it? Okay. Understood. I assume they were going to issue some type of correction at some point.
I mean, or just apologize in general.
Yeah.
I mean...
Okay. That would be enough, too. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I totally agree.
Jesus, dude.
All right.
What are we watching next? Come on.
Well, you know what? Next is Season 1, Episode 9, Crisis Point. I'm excited about this one just because it's its own movie, basically.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's exciting. And we've got the drink to go along with it is a drink called Distress Call. That is on page 98 of the Star Trek Cocktails book. So
yes.
Let's cue that drink up and that episode as well.
Not sure about this one. We'll see how it turns out.
All right, we just finished Crisis Point, but let's talk about the drink first, the Distress Call. What did you think of it?
You know, I don't get the name, but not great. I mean, it was basically just sugar and vodka. Really the only flavor.
And there's some honey in there, too.
Yeah, really the only flavor.
I actually didn't have the honey to add to it, so I'm sure that did not help much.
Yeah, I'm definitely not in the top 10 of this season.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 10, so there is that. But yeah, I mean, this to me, this is straight up just vodka with sugar in it and with a little bit of lime flavor, so...
Yeah.
Not a lot to talk about there, to be
great.
honest.
Yeah, definitely regrets were had.
Yeah.
But not so much in the episode.
Yeah, the episode was actually a lot better. I mean, this whole episode was about Mariner's therapy, basically, right? Like, she hijacks the Boimler program to kind of work out her own problems. I don't know. Do you have any knee-jerk reactions?
Well, I have said this about this episode. It is kind of iconic of Mariner's behavior. Is Boimler is desperately trying to achieve something, and Mariner hijacks his hard work for her own purposes. And it happens over and over again. And it's really hard to view Mariner as anything but a broken person in the context of these episodes.
Completely, yeah. I mean, we also get the introduction of the ship's counselor in this episode, and I can't say he really has like the best introduction either.
So insufferable
with his food analogies. And
what
whatnot.
Is the whole "you're big like a pineapple"? What does that even mean?
Great question. This is awkward. My audio for the rest of our discussion on episode 9 got corrupted and lost. But worry not, here is a selection of quotes from my co-host about the episode.
Oh look, it's Dime Store Gorn. Wait, so did Mariner just overthrow an entire planetary hierarchy? What the fuck's going on here? Effin' Miglimo, worst character in the series. Oh wait, no, wait. Jet. Second worst character in the series is Miglimo. We all know who number 1 is. It's Jet. Oh look, Mariner hijacking somebody else's mission for her own gratification. Mariner gonna Mariner. Jesus, she is awful. Okay, new hierarchy. Jet, Mariner, then Miglimo. Oh yeah, even Hollow Ransom is incomparable action hero. So the real question is, did simulated Mariner save her mom because she loves her? Or out of some deep-seated egotistical narcissism where she believes she's the best and the only one who can do anything? But for the phase coil, is that what they're calling it now? Jet goes straight up murderer just because Boimler tried to give the captain chocolate. Think that shows Jet is clearly the worst. I mean, this was all simulated based on their logs. I stand by my assessment. I said it before and I'll say it again. I love the fact that this entire episode is about Boimler trying to prepare for an interview. And Mariner F's it up so badly that Freeman only commentary was that Boimler didn't even bother to prepare for the interview. Just fantastic storytelling. Comedy gold. Comedy gold.
Alright, we just finished No Small Parts, but let's talk about what we drank during this episode. I went back to the Vulcan Mind Meld, which I thought was the highlight of the drinks that we had from the book of Star Trek cocktails this time. But what did you have?
Well, I liked a little bit of everything we tried, so I decided to just make my own mixer. I grabbed a little bit of the blue Caraco, some gin, and poured in some lime juice and hibiscus syrup. It was a pretty good mixer. I was very pleased with the way it came out.
Awesome. Yeah. I actually included some raspberries because the Vulcan Mind Meld, per the book, has some raspberry mix-ins, and I added that in just to polish off the raspberries that I had, and it was quite good. Yeah. I can't complain.
Turned out okay.
It was, a bit sweet, as a lot of the drinks that we've had from this book have actually been, but I can't complain. Thumbs up. Can't go wrong with a little bit of vodka, a little bit of champagne.
Indeed. So let's talk about this closing episode here.
Yeah. So what did you think? the actual start of the episode, I mean, we talked a little bit about previously about the things going wrong with Badgie being super dark, and there's a little bit of the start of this episode being super dark as well, with the Solvang getting horribly destroyed by the Packlads.
Yeah, like there's a moment where
same way.
On the first watch through, I didn't even I don't know why I didn't register, but watching it now, I'm just like, oh, they're all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these people just died, right?
Yeah, it's a little dark.
Yeah, I mean, quite a way to start out the episode. I mean, this show is, like, by and large, mostly, comedic, shenanigans, but every once in a while there's a little bit of a deposit of the super dark content. So this is one of those times.
Yep.
We also get the introduction of Peanut Hamper, which is a horrible character. I'm still a little bit surprised that they went with this, like, weird dark character, like, morally bankrupt character after the TNG episode with the Exocomps on it. What are your thoughts on Peanut Hamper now?
Well, I love Peanut Hamper's motivation, right? Where it's all like, I only joined Starfleet to piss off my parents. And it's just like...
Right.
It takes this...
Do Exocomps have parents? Apparently they do.
Yeah, it takes this very alien creature and just gives it very human... terrible human motivations.
Right. Yeah, that's totally true. And then, speaking of morally bankrupt people, I mean, the episode straight up calls Rutherford a morally bankrupt genius at some point because he's created Badgie. What a whole new aspect to Rutherford, though. I mean,
I don't
talking
agree
about
with
that
take.
as a creator of Badgie.
Yeah. Do not agree with that.
You don't think so?
No.
I mean, Badgie is obviously morally bankrupt.
Badgie is terrible, but I guess it is kind of Rutherford's fault for abusing his child. Jesus, Rutherford's terrible.
I feel like he hides his kind of do-gooder, exterior, and he hides it behind his morally bankrupt core.
Oh my God!
Just putting that out there. Maybe
he
Rutherford
hides
isn't all he's cracked up to be.
You mean he hides his morally bankrupt core behind his do-gooder exterior?
Right, exactly. And man, I mean, speaking of Rutherford, I mean, he gets his ass saved by Shax in this episode.
Yeah.
And, we all know that Shax comes back during the next season, but, I mean, man, what a kick in the junk that Shax's sacrifice was in this episode.
Yeah, but it definitely fits with what we've seen throughout the season. Fits with Shax's character and his relationship with Rutherford. And it has a good continuation in the next season, too. So, A-okay in my book.
Yeah, I mean, what a development for Shax's character in general. It's one of those things, like, there's only 10 episodes in this season, so we can only see so much for these, like, secondary characters, which is, like, the senior staff for the Cerritos. But quite a leap forward with Shax's sacrifice here, which just makes it even more hilarious when he comes back next season. But it does a lot for showing what he does for Rutherford here, for sure.
Yeah. But speaking of secondary characters, I love the fact that at the start of the episode, Mariner is all like, I don't even know who Jen is. And then at the end of the episode, she's yelling at Jen to shut up, right? Quite the turnaround.
She clearly knows who Jen is.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. Definitely sets up the end of season 2 where she's getting it on better footing with Jen at the end of that season. So,
and then, of course, we see the return of Ensign Casey as another background character.
Yes.
Did not realize just how much he shows up in this season.
Yeah, he's one of those random characters that shows up in, like, very small... Like, you gotta think, like, the voice actor for Ensign Casey is like, wow, I've got lines this episode. Wow, I'm so cool. And then actually gets his own episode next season, which is something we'll get to eventually. Yeah. Yes. Let's talk about the Titan showing up, though. Like, we got the callback to TNG. We got Riker showing up. I don't know. Do you have any knee-jerk reactions at this point?
No, I love all of Riker's appearances in this series, and this first appearance is just such a solid characterization for who he is in this series. Right. I love it.
Just the over-the-top Riker-ness?
Yeah, I love his interactions with Freeman. I love his recruiting of Boimler. I love his, his make it so line. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that now that we were watching with the subtitles on, he actually mispronounces Boimler's name in the first time he says it. So.
Yeah, Boomler. Fantastic.
Boomler. Totally consistent with Boimler's character, so.
Indeed.
Love to see it. All right, well, anything else you want to say about this episode, the season 1 episodes?
Nope. I do like the fact that we got another AIs can't be trusted episode. That is a theme that continues throughout multiple seasons.
Totally.
So, totally.
Peanut Hamper is just awful, so let's never do Peanut Hamper ever again.
Well, we'll get another AI, be it Artemis or, the return of Badgie. Who knows?
Indeed.
Oh God, it's finally over. We finally finished season 1, and we're done. We're done.
Wait, what? Well, hold on. That was just season 1. We have a whole other season to get to. What about season 2?
Done. We're done. And you know what? You can follow us on Twitter at Lower Dorks.
Yeah, I mean, you need to get it together, man. That was just one season. You need to chill out a little bit.
I cannot. And you know what? If you don't want to chill out, you can find Stavros. He lives in San Jose. Go bother him.
Wow. San Jose is huge. You will never find me.
910 Saratoga Avenue, San Jose, California. 52129. Eat it.
That is definitely not my address.
So that was not your wife that just served me a grand slam?
No, I'm afraid not. It was that was a moon over my hammy coming straight to my mouth instead.
Oh, that actually explains volumes. It was super weird that you married a 16-year-old.
Yeah, that's actually pretty illegal here. So I don't know about what Hodog state you live in, but
I live in a hovel in the desert, man. Come on.